In my last podcast, I spoke about how nearly every adult on the planet is deeply influenced by what I call the Human Sexual Operating System, or SOS. This is a system so powerful that it affects who we choose as a mate, how we interact with them, and whether or not the relationship will last. And why most people's default SOS will doom them to eventual relationship failure, or at best, an unfulfilling life together if left unchecked. This podcast is all about how to upgrade your sexual operating system so your intimate relationship is the source of lifelong fulfillment and satisfaction for you and your partner. Now, most people's SOS has such a strong hold over them because they are simply not aware of its influence. That means that at some level, most relationship behavior is unconsciously reactive. This is thanks to our built-in instinctive procreative imperative, which is driven by base survival needs within Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the first step to upgrading your SOS is to simply become aware of its influence over your relationship behavior. Think of awareness as the interrupt to the unconscious programming of the SOS that allows you to insert new, more empowering code, as it were. The next step is being very clear about what you really want out of your intimate relationship and why. Being in a great intimate relationship can be one of the most profound experiences that a human being can have. Think about that for a moment. You are authentically and vulnerably sharing your most intimate thoughts, feelings, and experiences with a partner who's doing the same with you. And in that space, you may briefly glimpse what it means to be fully self-actualized and transcend your day-to-day experience. Now, I may be going out on a limb here, but I am proposing that when intimacy becomes the gateway to this highest form of human experience, this is what most people seek from their life partner relationship, whether they are fully conscious of this need or not. And they want it as much and frequently as possible. Yet here's the rub. Most couples' default SOS actually prevents this from happening, and that is the fundamental source of relationship breakdown. Now, what I'm about to share with you is what it took for my partner and I to upgrade our respective SOSs, and in so doing helped us achieve levels of emotional, physical, and even spiritual intimacy beyond what is conventionally, or within the context of a typical SOS, considered possible. Here's what we did. First of all, we learned to truly listen to each other. I am fortunate to have a female partner that is not shy about telling me what she wants, intimately speaking, and thankfully I've learned to listen and provide accordingly. And likewise, she does the same for me. For our particular situation, it meant me as the man learning to slow way down to give her plenty of time to become fully aroused and ready. Note how this is diametrically opposed to the common male SOS response of, "Hey, I got a hard-on, let's go." The next step is learning to become vulnerable for each other. This means removing the barriers to one's heart. And this one goes so against the grain of the typical SOS that it can be difficult at first to adopt, yet it is crucial to the success of your SOS upgrade and, frankly, the longevity of your relationship. Then we've learned how important it is to be authentic with each other. This means showing up exactly as who we are with no pretense or airs, and sharing, when appropriate, our true thoughts and feelings in a vulnerable way without using deflectors like sarcasm or dissimulation. Then there's choosing presence over performance. My partner and I no longer allow the word performance to enter our bedroom. We insist instead on being fully present for both giving and receiving during our intimate sessions. This means no goals or agendas other than being in the moment without distraction. And ironically, this upgrade alone results in experiences that exceed any performance either of us have ever had before in our lives. And then finally, we learn to embrace uncertainty. We view our relationship as a great adventure, one filled with unexpected surprises and gifts. Any real adventure, by definition, includes uncertainty, which we've learned to embrace as the gateway to the real gold in our relationship. The other option, of course, is stultifying routine in which so many couples seem to be stuck in and unable to get out. Now, what we've just covered are the non-gender specific SOS upgrades. Now, let's explore recommended upgrades for men and women respectively, starting with male-specific SOS upgrades. As a fully impotent male, my SOS upgrade was given a head start since I'm not affected by some of the same base influences that are in play for fully functioning men. For example, I no longer have a sense of urgency that comes over most men when they have an erection. This made it easier for me to focus on and be fully present for my partner and to slow way down so she has adequate time to warm up. So if you're the kind of guy that can get hard just thinking about a pretty woman, this can be a bit of a hurdle to overcome. So what I recommend for this case is very straightforward. Just get rid of the baby batter before you have intimate sessions. This is just for the first few times you explore being intimate with the intention of fully incorporating your upgraded SOS. Once you experience the extraordinary difference in outcome, you can go back to allowing yourself to be hard at the get-go, only now with the requisite restraint necessary to consistently achieve these heightened levels of physical intimacy. Also, really listen to what she wants and how she wants it. For example, many men think that when they sense their woman's about to climax, she wants you to go harder and faster, primarily because that's how we guys respond to sexual stimulation. Chances are, however, and there are always exceptions, your woman wants to keep it slow and steady as she builds to orgasm. Just ask her and be prepared to follow. One last note. The typical male SOS tends to make us guys think and feel that our ultimate sexual experience is released through climax and ejaculation. Remember, this is the procreative imperative. However, it has been my personal experience that the ultimate sexual adventure is creating a quote-unquote space for my partner that is most conducive to releasing her full sensual potential. I find this as a man to be substantially more fulfilling and pleasurable than any orgasm I could have. And I say that in the context of where my orgasms are now many times more powerful and longer lasting than they ever were. Now let's explore the female-specific SOS upgrades. I'm very fortunate to have a female partner who is very comfortable with and fully understands her own body and sensuality. Unfortunately, this is not always the case for the majority of women in our culture, where female sexual pleasure has been looked down upon at best, thanks primarily to various religious and cultural influences. So for many women, the first step to upgrading their SOS is to learn as much about and become comfortable with their own body and sexuality as possible, without shame or inhibition. Based upon my research and my own observations, most women are capable of nearly unlimited sensual potential at any adult age. However, for this to be fully realized, they must fully embrace their own bodies and sexual energy. Another thing I notice about a lot of women is their reluctance to share with their partner what they really want. I believe this is an artifact of the default SOS. Just know that if you don't authentically share what you want, don't be disappointed in what you get. Men are not mind readers. You need to explicitly tell them. And if they are the right guy, they will welcome your efforts to do so and listen. So as you probably gathered by now, the human sexual operating system is a big subject that we've only begun to explore. In a future podcast, I'm going to cover making love with an upgraded sexual operating system that will share some of the methods my partner and I have used to achieve extraordinary intimacy on all levels. Until then, take care.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Extraordinary Intimacy with Michael J. Russell. For all speaking, media interviews, and workshop inquiries, go to michaelrusselllive.com. For private intimacy coaching, Send an email to coaching@michaelrusselllive.com